Welcome to a deep dive into Jodi Picoult's 19 Minutes, a novel that really dives into the heart of a school shooting. And it explores the events leading up to it and the ripple effects. So our mission today is to really understand, what makes this book so powerful?
Right.
And why it continues to spark debate, even today. More than just the what of the shooting, we're diving into the why.
It's fascinating how Picoult takes us beyond the typical school shooter narrative. We see Peter's journey, his slow unraveling, and it compels us to consider this complex interplay of individual vulnerability and societal pressures.
Yeah, and it's not just told through Peter's eyes, though, is it?
Precisely.
Picoult masterfully weaves in multiple perspectives. We get victims' families, even those on the periphery of the story. It gives us this 360-degree view of the tragedy and its impact.
Absolutely. It's through these diverse voices that we begin to grasp the true magnitude of the event and how it really reverberates through an entire community.
Right from the start, Picoult uses these incredibly vivid details to draw us in. Like right away, we learned about the Superman lunchbox incident from Peter's childhood.
Yeah.
It seems like a small thing, but it speaks volumes about the kind of casual cruelty he faces early on.
It's an early glimpse into the power dynamics at play. And this seemingly insignificant event plants a seed of humiliation.
Right.
It foreshadows the deeper, more insidious bullying that Peter will endure.
And it's not just his peers.
Yeah.
We see the hunting trip with his father and brother. He's clearly uncomfortable with the idea of taking a life.
Yeah.
Yet instead of support or understanding from his family, he's met with mockery and pressure to conform.
Yeah, this is crucial. This highlights the lack of emotional support within Peter's family, which further isolates him. His inability to live up to their expectations, forces him to internalize his feelings, pushing him further down a path of isolation.
And then we have the Dolores Keating incident in middle school.
Yeah.
Peter witnesses another student being bullied.
Yeah.
But chooses not to intervene. It feels like such a pivotal moment, a turning point, where his sense of powerlessness takes root.
It reinforces his belief that standing up, speaking out won't change anything. The world, as he perceives it, is a cruel, indifferent place, and he's merely a passenger in it.
There's this detail about Peter getting new glasses. He compares them to a superhero's accessory, something that makes him feel different, special.
Right.
But it also kind of reveals his vulnerability, his dependence on them to see clearly.
It's a brilliant metaphor for how Peter attempts to navigate his reality. He seeks control, a sense of agency, but he's constantly reminded of his perceived weaknesses and his inability to truly fit in.
His relationship with Josie is particularly interesting. They start as close friends, playing house in kindergarten, dreaming of sending a balloon to Mars. Such innocence, and yet it makes their eventual rift even more heartbreaking.
Their relationship mirrors the social stratification that permeates their world. As they grow older, Josie gravitates towards popularity, while Peter sinks deeper into the shadows.
Yeah, the pants incident in the cafeteria is a brutal example of this growing chasm between them.
It's a public humiliation for Peter. Josie, caught in the web of social pressure, chooses to side with the popular crowd instead of defending him.
And then there's the email he writes to her, pouring out his heart, only to have it spammed to the entire school. It's another devastating blow.
That email is so crucial.
Yeah.
It reveals Peter's deep-seated longing for connection, his vulnerability.
Yeah.
But its exposure only serves to further isolate him, pushing him further away from the very thing he craves.
It feels like every attempt he makes to connect backfires, pushing him towards the very violence he initially recoiled from.
Yeah.
This brings us to the violent video game he creates.
Okay.
A potential outlet for his anger and frustration, but also perhaps a reflection of the increasingly violent world he inhabits.
And this connects to a larger question that Picoult seems to be raising.
What's that?
How much did the culture of violence contribute to Peter's actions? The book examines this through various lenses: the prevalence of violent video games, the aggression in music lyrics, even the state motto itself, live free or die.
It makes you wonder about the messages we're sending young people, the subtle and not so subtle way in which we might be nurturing the very behaviors we fear. And then, of course, the shooting itself. The horrific climax that shatters the illusion of safety and forever changes the lives of everyone involved.
Picoult doesn't shy away from the graphic details of the shooting.
Right.
She immerses us in the chaos, the terror, the sheer brutality of the event.
Yeah.
But she also delves into the psychological complexities, forcing us to grapple with the question of culpability.
Yeah.
Was Peter solely responsible, or were there external factors at play? It's crucial to remember that 19 Minutes isn't simply a story about a school shooting. It's a multi-layered exploration of human nature, of trauma and its aftermath, and of the complex societal issues that contribute to these tragedies.
And one of the most compelling aspects of the book is how it explores the legal and ethical complexities surrounding the trial. We see conflicting expert opinions on Peter's mental state, the intense pressure on everyone involved, and this constant struggle to determine the true nature of culpability.
Picoult skillfully navigates the nuances of the legal system. She doesn't offer a simplistic view of guilt or innocence. Instead, she delves into the challenges of determining intent and responsibility, especially when dealing with a minor.
And then there's the added layer of complexity with Alex Josie's mother, being the judge presiding over the case.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
It forces her to confront her own biases, to reconcile her maternal instincts with her duty to uphold the law.
It's a brilliant way to examine the limits of objectivity. Can Alex truly separate her personal feelings from her professional obligations?
Yeah.
It's a question that ripples throughout the novel, challenging us to consider our own biases and how they influence our perceptions.
And it's not just Alex who's grappling with these complex emotions. The entire community is reeling from the tragedy, trying to make sense of the unimaginable, to find a way to move forward amidst grief, anger, and confusion.
It underscores the profound and enduring impact of such events. The trauma extends far beyond the immediate victims, affecting families, friends, and even those who were only indirectly connected. Picoult masterfully portrays a community struggling to heal, to reconcile the past with the present, without offering easy answers or quick resolutions.
One of the most powerful aspects of the book for me is how it gives voice to the survivors. Josie's journey in particular is so raw and honest. She's wrestling with the physical and emotional scars of the shooting, but also with this incredibly complex relationship she had with Peter.
Josie's experience highlights the multifaceted nature of trauma. She's not just a victim. She's a young woman forced to confront her past her own choices and the lingering guilt and confusion that accompany survival.
And then there's Lacey Houghton, Peter's mother. Her struggle to reconcile the love for her son with the horror of his actions is truly heartbreaking. Her attempts to make amends, to understand what led him down this path, are both compelling and thought-provoking.
Lacey's story is a reminder that the consequences of such events ripple outwards, reaching families, friends, entire communities. Her journey is a poignant exploration of parental love, guilt, and the desperate search for meaning in the face of tragedy.
19 Minutes doesn't shy away from these tough questions. It delves into the uncomfortable realities of bullying, the devastating impact of mental health struggles, and the societal factors that can contribute to violence. And this leads us to one of the most contentious debates surrounding the book, the question of whether it should be banned from school curriculums.
This is where the live free or die conundrum truly comes into play. On one hand, there's a valid concern that exposure to such content could be harmful, especially for students who have experienced trauma. The fear of copycat incidents or the potential for glorifying violence is a legitimate concern.
And some argue that the book's graphic depictions and disturbing themes might not be age-appropriate. There's a genuine desire to protect students from potentially triggering content.
But the other side of the argument raises equally compelling points. Censorship, even with the best intentions, can often backfire. Banning a book might only fuel curiosity, driving students to seek it out through other means. It also sends a message that these topics are taboo, further silencing important conversations that need to be had.
Exactly. And wouldn't it rob students of the opportunity to analyze the book critically, to develop their own understanding of its complex themes and messages? 19 Minutes offers a chance to engage in open discussions about bullying, pressures of conformity issues that affect young people directly.
Suppressing these conversations could perpetuate the very problems the book aims to address. It's about finding a balance acknowledging the book's challenging nature while also recognizing its potential to spark dialogue, understanding, and empathy.
It's about empowering students to grapple with difficult topics in a safe and supportive environment, to develop critical thinking skills and cultivate a deeper understanding of the human condition.
19 Minutes isn't a book that offers easy answers. A book that asks hard questions, challenges assumptions, and forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves and the world around us.
And in a world where these conversations are often avoided or silenced, that's a powerful and necessary thing.
You know, it's interesting how the book doesn't really offer a simple answer to the question of why this tragedy happened. Instead, it just leaves us grappling with the complexities, the gray areas, the uncomfortable truths that we often try to avoid.
It doesn't provide those easy answers or tie things up neatly. Instead, it offers a glimpse into that long, arduous process of healing, both for the individuals
and for the community as a whole.
And it challenges us to look beyond the surface,
Absolutely.
To see the human beings behind the headlines, and to understand that these events are rarely the result of a single cause or a simple explanation.
It forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that there's often a complex interplay of factors at play. We see individual vulnerabilities, societal pressures, systemic failures, and understanding these complexities is crucial if we want to prevent future tragedies.
One of the most striking things about the book for me is how it captures that ripple effect of trauma. We see it not only in the immediate victim, also in the witnesses, the first responders, the entire community.
It's a stark reminder that the impact of such events extends far beyond the initial incident. It leaves scars on individuals and communities, shaping their perceptions, their relationships, their very sense of safety and belonging.
And it highlights the importance of providing support and resources for those affected by trauma. Recognizing that healing is a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. It's about creating a culture of empathy and understanding where people feel safe to seek help, to share their experiences, and to find solace in knowing they're not alone.
19 Minutes is a book that stays with you after you finish reading it, challenges your assumptions, and that ultimately leaves you with more questions than answers.
And that's precisely why it's such an important book. It sparks those crucial conversations. It compels us to confront those uncomfortable truths. And it encourages us to engage in deeper reflection about ourselves and the world around us.
So as we wrap up our deep dive, I'd like to leave you with this thought. What resonated most with you? What questions did this book raise for you? How did it challenge your perceptions of bullying, mental health, or the complexities of human nature?
19 Minutes is a powerful reminder that while we may never fully comprehend the motivations behind such tragedies, we can choose to respond with empathy, understanding, commitment to creating a safely more compassionate world. It's a call to action, urging us to be more aware, more proactive, and more willing to engage in those difficult conversations that are essential for positive change.